Real-life shows like the Alaskan Bush People are some of the best because they are always dramatic. But along with the drama, there were a number of terrifying events that turned the reality docudrama show into a tragedy. The show followed the Brown family, and today we're going to talk about the tragedies they've been through, including the sad death of Noah Brown, who was a beloved member of the Brown family. After the cameras stopped rolling, the situation only got worse. There is more to this story than the cold weather in Alaska. Family bonds are put to the test, secrets are revealed, and heartbreak takes center stage. First, let's talk about Noah Brown. Billy Brown, Noah Brown's father, died on February 7, 2021, after having a seizure. Noah was very sad about his death. This happened after Bear Brown said in 2020 that the family's house burned down in the flames in Washington state. But these events aren't Noah Brown's greatest tragedies, no matter how bad they are. Noah is like a real-life tech-crazed person. A tree branch and some fishing line could be used to make a Wi-Fi router. Okay, that's not quite true, but you get the point. Noah Brown has always been the creative and resourceful one in the family. He loves to do engineering projects in the wild Alaskan frontier. He became the family's go-to person for solving problems, whether it was setting up a water pump or making tools from scratch. Funny thing is, Noah's smarts made it easier for the Brown family to live off the grid, but his heart was somewhere else. He loved Rain Alicia very much, and gave her everything. Every fan of the Alaskan Bush People dreamed of their wedding in 2018. Noah's search for love was not the only exciting part of his story, but it does have something to do with his worst tragedy. Noah was born on July 18, 1992, and grew up in Alaska, where the scenery was very beautiful. He was excited about a life full of tough independence and strong family bonds. Behind the scenes, things were much more complex than they seemed. He seemed to have everything he could want: adventure, freedom, and a close-knit family. It wasn't always easy to stay alive when you lived so far away from the power source, and you had to deal with problems most of us can't even imagine. Finding food, making shelters, and keeping the family together were all things that had to be balanced all the time. The separation was more than just being alone. It made me feel things. It was hard for the Browns to take care of their family, which had its ups and downs like any other. The Brown family wrote the Alaskan Bush People to tell the world their story. Noah really shined when it came to coming up with new ideas and fixing problems. People fell in love with his creativity and his unwavering calm in tough situations right away. You knew you could count on him to get things done and look good doing them. Noah and his family all thought that family was the most important thing in the world. Fans loved this plan because it let them see the family work together, fight together, and love each other. Still, many fans missed some important facts. Did you know that Alaskan Bush People wasn't just shot in Alaska? Other places, like Hoonah and Chechagov Island, were used to film some scenes. There are things we see that aren't always real, but the tragedies the family went through can't be faked. Let's talk about the Brown family and what makes them tick first. We've already talked about how the Brown family taught people to be together. They've built their whole lives around the idea that no matter what, we're all in this together. They were able to get through hard times like bad weather, money problems, and family arguments because they were close. There are times when family fights are quiet, like when one brother pokes fun at another while they're talking. Sometimes it's easier to see, like when people get angry or argue about how the family business should grow. Expect these events to be as intense as they are. Families fight all the time. What do you think? A lot of these problems start to show up in the business world. It's not easy to run a show and keep the house afloat. The Brown family members have different ideas about how to run the business, handle money, and do things. It's like a family board game with a lot at stake. Not everyone agrees on the rules, but everyone has their own plan. Many people can relate to the Brown family's story because of the problems and issues they faced. Fans are really interested in how they deal with their disagreements, hold on to what's important, and keep going. Isn't that a lesson for all of us? Families in life aren't always perfect, but in the end, it might matter most that people stick together and help each other. What about the show really interested you? Was it the family tie or the drama from their fights? When we talk about drama, 2016 was one of the hottest years on the show. What did happen? Let's start. Some people in the Brown family like Billy and Joshua Bam Bam Brown were charged with lying to get the PFD Alaska's permanent fund payout. Some Alaskans who have stayed there for at least a year and plan to stay forever get a payment called the PFD. So fraud, reports say that the Browns said they lived in Alaska even though they spent a lot of time outside of the state. Strange, huh? Because of all this legal trouble, Billy and Bam Bam pleaded guilty to second-degree unsworn falsification charges. They were told to stay home for 30 days and had to pay huge fines. Even though they didn't go to jail, the situation did a lot of damage to their image. This scandal created a different picture of a family that was supposed to be independent and follow the rules when they lived in the wilderness. It turned out that some viewers didn't know enough about one of their favorite TV families. What could have made them commit fraud? Things are getting worse for Noah and his family. Rain Brown was a very important part of the Alaskan Bush People, just like Noah was to his family. Rain wasn't always in the show, but when she was, she added a lot of energy. As the youngest child in the Brown family, she quickly became a sign of hope, purity, family unity and growth and change. But she also showed the world how deeply people love their families. Things aren't so simple for Rain, though she has to deal with some sadness. Though Rain was never afraid of hard work, she would help her brothers around the house or take on jobs that seemed too big for her. She was the glue that held the Brown family together in her own way. Too bad it looks like Noah and his wife, Rain Alicia, are not big fans of her. What do we mean? Is the love the Brown family shows real? What could be wrong with Noah's family? Is this linked to the evil inside Rain? What does Noah have to do with any of this? Noah could come up with new ideas and solve problems, but there was one issue that he had trouble with. As his family grew, he tried to balance his part in the Brown tradition with his own. It wasn't easy. He had a bigger problem when he and his wife had 2 kids, because that added to their stress. In the end, Noah couldn't find balance and leaned toward his connection with Rain. This caused some disagreements, both in the family and among friends. Some fans weren't happy with how Rain fit in with the family. There were reports that she was having problems with other members, like Rain Brown, which made things worse. Some fans think that the tensions may have started because Rain didn't always agree with Noah's brothers. Specifically, Rain Brown thought that Rain was trying to replace her, since Rain changed her name from Ruth. Rain didn't seem happy about joining a bigger family and wanted to set limits. But try setting limits with a family that always sticks together. There were no questions. Setting limits would have upset the rest of the family, so Noah and Ryan didn't do it. Do you think they might have been able to? As Noah deals with family fights, there is also the debate over living off the grid. Over the years, some people have questioned how real the Brown family's trips into the woods are. As the tech-savvy person who could fix problems, Noah was often at the center of these conversations. People weren't sure how far away the family really was, because Noah seemed to be able to quickly put together a gadget in the middle of nowhere from spare parts. But hey, who can blame the guy for being resourceful? It shows how creative he is, if anything. While Noah was dealing with that, social media brought him recognition that he didn't want. Noah's online life has had its ups and downs, as it does for most famous people. His posts have sometimes caused problems, like when he shared private moments that fans thought should stay private, or when he responded to negative comments. Noah has learned the hard way that social media can be both good and bad. People who live such a public life are sure to get into trouble, so it's not an easy road. His tragedy is even worse than his mistakes on social media, which is sad. Rain, Noah, and his wife are having a lot more trouble with each other than most people thought. Just to tell you, reality TV only shows a part of the story. Things go wrong in real life behind the cameras, and the Browns aren't exempt. Rain was told to stay away from Noah and his wife in August 2024. People who like Alaskan Bush People were shocked. How did a family that looked so united on TV end up in such a bad situation? Assaults and threats were made against Noah Brown and his wife. Their claims were that Rain stalked people, made threats with guns, and used drugs. They even said she was making them feel a lot of mental pain. The couple also said they were worried about the safety of their children. What's going on? Is this the same Rain that fans know who is said to be doing all of this? Noah talked about times when Rain reportedly made death threats and behaved in strange ways. He said she was using cocaine and meth and giving drugs to Amy Brown, their mother. Even though Nayo's claims were serious, The court rejected the restraining order because there wasn't enough information and there were mistakes in the process. On the other hand, Rain Brown used social media to protect herself, talking about mental health and stressing how real she was. In an Instagram video, Rain talked about how upset she was that Noah's wife, Rain, had changed her name from Ruth. She also said Noah was spreading lies about her. Rain was open about her mental health problems, including suicide thoughts, and said she used marijuana to deal with them. Even though they don't get along, she ended her message by wishing Noah a Merry Christmas. This reaction from the public shows how complicated and painful it can be for the Brown family to deal with personal problems and family relationships, while the public watches. Reports say that Rain and Rain had been fighting for a long time before the protection order. Rain Alicia has had a lot of attention from friends, and it looks like her family as well. It must not have been easy getting used to living with the Browns, especially since cameras were rolling and everyone was looking. People say that Rain and her sister-in-law Rain's relationship got worse over time. Apparently, they had fights over limits and family dynamics. Even though the court didn't like the protection order at first, Noah and Raina Alicia got it in the end. For some, this may look like a win, but for the Brown family as a whole, it's not really a win. There are often emotional costs that come with legal settlements. Unfortunately, those costs don't end there. When everything calmed down, it had an impact on the Brown family business that was like an Alaskan winter. It was a flaw in that story that seemed great. And let's be honest, people did notice. In Alaskan Bush People, the show is all about showing how a family can stay together through everything. When the protective order made the news, it made a lot of people look twice. Sadly, this problem isn't just with the fans. This kind of controversy makes marketers nervous. And the money stops coming in when marketers are scared. Things the family does besides the show, like brand and product deals, seem to have suffered. After all, who wants to live like the Bush family if they can't even get along with each other? It would be like getting outdoor survival tips from a group of people who can't make it through Thanksgiving dinner without getting into a fight. Claims that Alaskan Bush People weren't as real as they seemed caused another big debate. Some critics and even some previous fans of the show have said that it exaggerates or even stages parts of the family's life. There were rumors that the Browns didn't live as far away as the show said, and that during breaks from shooting, they sometimes stayed in hotels or other more modern places to stay. Some viewers have also said that there were times when the show felt too planned or over-dramatized for entertainment value. People who watched the show because they thought it was about extreme wilderness survival felt let down by these claims. The Browns have mostly kept quiet about these claims, but the whispers have stuck around, which makes their story seem less credible. Fans who looked up to their tough independence and honest way of life were disappointed by the legal problems and false charges. Some people went from being admired to being suspicious by the public, and this can have real effects on business deals, partnerships, and merchandise sales. But what's the real catch? This probably made it hard to work together in the future. Who will work with the Browns on a project if there's a chance of more bad press? The Brown family is tough, and they've been through storms before, but this one, it was felt. We don't know if they'll get back together stronger, or if this feud will remember them for a long time. What do you think? If they can't get it together, will this be the start of the end for the Brown family company? Is the end of the family as a whole? Noah Brown cared about the family business more than just his job. It was who he was. You can imagine how bad it felt when things started to go wrong. With his smarts and hard work, Noah had spent years building up the family business. Everything he had worked for seemed to be slipping away because of a fight between his wife and his sister. It wasn't just about fame or money, it was about giving up something he really cared about. Also, don't forget that Noah is a family man at heart. He lived for the Brown family, and the business was supposed to be what held them all together. It must have hurt to see that same glue cause cracks in their base. But since Noah was there, he probably took it personally. This guy doesn't just brush things off. Someone who steps up when something is broken is him. He must have felt like he had failed when he couldn't fix this, even though it wasn't his fault. Is Noah ever able to take a step back and ask himself, was it all worth it? The long hours, the difficulties, and the stress of being the smartest person in the family, when everything falls apart because of drama he couldn't stop, It must feel like a terrible joke.